Hey everybody. Today I want to actually back up, and it's occurred to me that we should probably cover some foiling stuff before we get too far, because first of all, you're going to need that for the next lesson. But also, I'm sure all of you remember the concept of foiling, I want to make sure that we actually have it down. And I probably should have started with this, so sorry. Um, so hopefully today will be just review for you. It is review. I know you've covered this stuff, but hopefully it goes easily enough for you. Okay, so what we need to do today is we've spent the last couple of days factoring and breaking things into this form. Today we're going to put it into kind of the unfactored form. So we're just going backwards. We're going the other way now. Again, because we're going to need that for tomorrow when we get to the radical equations. So what you need to do is take everything inside the parentheses here and multiply it by everything in the parentheses here. You can do that in whatever order you want to, but it's going to be a heck of a lot easier if you follow the basic formula of the first, the outsides, the insides, and the lasts. And I'll explain what that means. So for FOIL, we're going to start with our first ones. The first term here times the first term here. X times x, which will give us an x squared. The outside terms, so the two terms on the outside, x times a negative 7 will give me a negative 7x. My inside terms, which are 3 and x, because it's positive, it'll be a plus 3x. And then our last terms, the last term here and the last term here. 3 times negative 7 is a negative 21. The last step, don't forget, is to combine our two like terms. X squared negative 7 plus 3 is a negative 4x minus 21. And that's what I want to work on today. I want to make sure that we've got this down. So we're going to do just a couple more of these, and then you'll be good to go with a pretty quick lesson. The last thing that I want to talk about today is I'm actually adding another assessment for the more complicated factoring stuff. So be aware of, you've got a couple of assessments coming up really quickly. All right, let's take a look at something just a little bit more complicated. 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 4. Okay, now we've got coefficients. We've got this 2 and this 3 attached to the x. Don't worry, we can handle that. So 2x times 3x, we've got to do first times first. 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. And that's how I like to do it. Treat the numbers like numbers and multiply them together. Then treat the variables like variables and multiply them together. So we've got 6x squared. 2x then times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Positive 8. X times, well, there's no x over there, so it'll just stay an x. Negative 3 times 3x. Negative 3 times 3 is a negative 9. There's just that x. And then negative 3 times 4 will give me a negative 12. And we'll have 6x squared plus, it'll actually be a negative 1x minus 12. And just because then I can keep my life easier when I'm creating problems, make it a minus 1x for me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go through every single subtraction problem and add plus and negative as another option, and I'm not going to do that. So just make it minus 1x. Don't add any plus negatives. Those will be counted wrong because I'm not making 8 different answers for every single problem. So that's what we're looking at today. Let me give you one to, whoops, got my eraser. Let me give you one to try on your own. Let's go with 3x plus 4 times 2x minus 8. Go. Probably not an appropriate face to be making while everything is paused. That was not attractive. All right. First times first. 3 times 2 is 6. X times x is x squared. I feel that I just gave you the same problem. 3 times the negative 8 is a negative 24. Don't forget the x. 4 times 2x. 4 times 2 is a positive 8. We've got that x in there. And 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. 6x squared. Negative 24 plus 8 is a negative 16x minus 32. So that's what you got. You're good to go. There is an assessment, not on this stuff, but at this point you should have the radical equations assessment. You should have the absolute value equations assessment. You should have the simple factoring, and you should have the complex factoring. So there are, what is that, 4 of them? 4 that you should be done with by now. I'm adding that one today, and as soon as we add the stuff tomorrow, there will actually be another one. So we're going to have 5 really quickly here. They're going to start coming at you. So do not let yourself get behind. As soon as you're done today, make sure that you've got everything scheduled that you need to have scheduled. But this is the foiling stuff that we're working on today. Hopefully a review, and I'm really sorry for those of you that have been lost. I should have covered this 2 weeks ago. Oops. See you tomorrow.